Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another series review. And oh my, this took a while to finish. So this one was alright overall. From the start to maybe like towards episode 6, the show really went at a pace that was snooze. And I'm not trying to hate on the show because, honestly speaking, the acting is superb. The direction is superb. The cinematography is superb. The setting itself, the ambience it gives, superb. My problem with it that the story really takes its time to get going. And if you think about it, the show is called The Haunting of Bly Manor. Well, I think that's also the kind of the problem the show is that they named it because obviously you want to ride on the success of Haunting of Hill House, which was a masterpiece. So makes sense you want to name it something similar. But in all honesty, towards the end you realize, and heck, even the show itself actually says that it is a love story, not really a story of a haunting. And I think that's the thing that for these first 6 episodes, for me at least, it felt like that I really wanted that haunting aspect, but the show really pulled you towards these love stories from different perspectives for different characters, and it was really focused on that. And all this time, the haunting part and the scares were very minimal. In fact, the whole show, I never got really scared of anything. I don't think there are many scares in this show. It's more the creepiness factor in there, here and there, not even like throughout the show, but there's this looming story of there's something there, but it's obviously never explained until like towards like the third last episode where everything starts to come together and really the story picks up. Those last 3 episodes, boy, it feels like that whole season is those 3 episodes. You literally, there's so much there, and the story goes on this 120 speed and really gets going, and it really finally everything comes together, and there's this emotional end to all of it. And by the end of it, I actually was actually Terry, because the ending was, it hits you hard. It is very emotional. Even though it has a lot of character problems, I would say, there are some things that are done at the end that it's completely far-fetched. It's like really you don't feel that characters would be that way. So other than that, other than it's a big nitpick for the show, but other than that, those last 3 episodes of the history of the manor, why everything is happening, even though even in that the history there are a few things with the rules don't work. There are a lot of positives in those 3 episodes. But here's the thing though. There's a thing called, taking its time or a slow burn. Those are, the words that we use when sometimes we watch these kind of series, that things take time and they slowly build up. The problem I felt with this show is that it was too slow. Too slow. And sometimes there are characters that it's focusing on that by the end, honestly, by the end, those characters, you feel like, okay, what was their major point towards all of this? Instead, I feel like there are a couple of characters they could have just left out so that they could have focused on the 2 love stories, the 2 main, or even you can say the 3 main love stories that were part of the show that really, the story really revolved around those characters. It could have just focused on those, because there are some characters, they're there, and sometimes there are episodes that take their time to kind of focus on those characters, but by the end of it, they just feel like, okay, they were there, they were part of the story, but they never accumulated to the whole aspect of what this show is trying to do by the end of it. And which, compared to this, if you think about The Haunting of Hill House, now you compare that show to this, I do think the reason it's a masterpiece is not just because how it was able to handle its scares, but also how it was able to bring every character and all the storylines in each episode, even if it was a slow burn, there was something happening. Each character had a role in that story, no matter how you looked at it. Um, every character, from the child actors when they were younger, when they're older, when you looked at the whole show, every episode mattered. It was like these puzzle pieces that came together towards the end, and each character's story had a reason of why it was there. In this show, it never feels that way. It does feel that maybe it needed a few rewrites, maybe cut some stuff out, because sometimes you do feel like the episodes just went by just to make this show longer. And you can literally, as I said, with some of the characters, I don't think they were as important to have them in the show. By cutting that out, you probably could have like cut at least 2 or 3 episodes out, so it would have the actual story be in the forefront. Or if you want to have these like 9 episodes, well then still cut these characters out, but then focus on these other characters and really just those characters and their story. And because there is one crucial episode which actually explains the history of Bly Manor and what's actually where it all started, what's actually happening, that story, I loved it. I actually loved it. Going back in time, that set period, maybe they should have spent a couple more episodes there, and I think that would have been more interesting. So overall, I think because of these loopholes in the story and the way some of the characters don't have bigger roles to, for the story and for the whole aspect of the story, uh, I just feel like this show tries to be as masterful, but it just does not get there. Honestly, for the first 6 episodes or so, I was hating this show. This is the reason it actually took this long for me to review this, is because it was so slow. I just could not watch more than an episode a day. And that's saying something, because Hill House, you wanted to watch every single episode right after one another, right? But the last 3 episodes is where it just saved the show. It There were a lot of things there that it brought together, and it really, you know, did not have any full stops, man. It just went. It took you to this emotional roller coaster, especially in the last couple of episodes, and I loved it. I loved the ending, minus the new nitpicks with like these characters and how they've grown up and some of the aspects of the storyline. It's very far-fetched. I just couldn't believe it. So overall, it's just a good show. There are things that are very, very good in the show, especially the acting, as I said, the direction, and like the whole aspect of the manor, the set, and all. It's very well done. Each of the actors actually give their best. I just don't think overall some of the characters and the horror aspect is really shines in this compared to how everything was handled in Hill House. So with that in mind, I give this show a 7 out of 10. I do think if they would have just maybe cut a few episodes or cut some characters and focus on these other characters, the show could have benefited a lot more. So that's my take on it. So with that in mind, I want to ask you how you felt about the show, and leave a comment below. Let me know. And yeah, let's start the discussions in the comments. And other than that, I want to say thank you for watching. Please remember to share and subscribe, dislike, like the video, all of that. And thanks for all the support recently. And with that, take care, and I will catch you all later. Until then, ta-ta.